All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with the Heroes Hype Amateur League into the quarterfinals as teams have started advancing here in this double elimination bracket. Miss Anna Prosser Robinson, you've been enjoying your games?
Absolutely. This is a total honor. Really love Heroes Hype and keep giving them shout outs, but if you're just joining us, really want to let you know, please support them, show them that you love them for doing all these amazing things for the scene. This amateur league is built to kind of give a safe place for people to grow, learn, show off their skills, and maybe find their way into the pros someday. So I'm really happy to be a part of it. This is kind of my first real tournament casting experience. Done some show matches on Eye on the Storm, but really happy to be here, and thanks for helping me along, Sean.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And your webcam kind of froze in a really good freeze frame.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, that's nice.
It's actually a really good freeze frame, but yeah, she is there, guys. This is not a recording or a bot or anything. 100% can confirm. All right, so let's get into the draft because, oh, there we go. Now there. Yay!
Here
All right.
I am.
We're going to get into the draft because these guys are rip raring and ready to go. So we're going to go through them. Yeah, these teams are, they're eager, to say the least. Into the Garden of Terror. We'll talk more in depth during the game, but we will start it off with a ban on top of Rhaegar into a ban on ETC. First pick, Raynor. This is going to be new kind of territory for us because the Raynor remake, haven't really seen a ton of it as of yet, but Stitches Vala to go on the opposing side, which are some very strong picks for this map. We then pick up our support with Uther, and we see once more the Witch Doctor, Nazeebo going to be coming in. Hopefully a Harlequin Nazeebo. That new skin is looking fantastic. Illidan into Muradin. So another Illidan coming out, and they don't have a support yet, and that's something new. And into a Tyrael, Sonya. Sonya is something we've been seeing a lot of to no real useful degree in the competitive, so we'll have to see what these guys bring to the table with that. And the last pick, Tyrande. So, Tyrande as the one support for Supremacy feels a little gutsy because she's not exactly known for her healing, definitely more of a bruiser or an enabler. But at the same time, it's the one support there from Uther on the flip side. So a very tanky team from Mortem. And not entirely too sure where Supremacy is going to go with it. But as I said, these guys are ready to go. So we can tell them we're good to go, guys. Good luck.
Yeah, we saw their MiM or MIM brethren with that Illidan without that dual support last game. So they're following it up without the dual support here as well. It'll be interesting to see if they can do something different with it.
Yeah, as I said, the Illidan with the double support is definitely the strongest comp for an Illidan right now. We have seen, a bit more flakier comps in terms of a solo support, or in this case, I don't even want to call this like a half of support because I don't know, Healing Ward's going to have to come out big, I guess. But
yeah,
Muradin Stitches on one side and then Sonya Tyrael on the other. This is the most number of warriors I've seen in a single game in a while. Yeah.
That'll be fun. Lots of pounding on each other.
And, well, we actually classify the Sonya as a warrior, but she's definitely more of a bruiser. She's not a big soak like Arthas that we've talked about, like we've seen with Muradin and Stitches. She's definitely a bit more of a damage-oriented warrior. Less of a soak, more of a, I don't know, bruiser, puncher, fighter, that kind of thing. Tyrael, of course, also, he did just get nerfed this patch as well. He lost that cast aside. It's a very useful tool when used correctly in team fights, but now that's going to be gone as well. And we're jumping into the Garden of Terror. So again, I haven't really seen these teams. If you were just with us though, MiM Vitality just played up against Vivid Eclipse. They did lose, and I guess this is their sister team, MiM Supremacy, which, if I have to take a guess, is also from the Dawngate days.
And playing against Mortem, who we haven't seen anything from, but wishing both teams absolutely the best of luck.
No, MiM Vitality
and as soon
as a Twitter.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, please give those teams love on Twitter. And we are going into Garden of Terror. If you're not familiar with this map, should I tell them now or wait till we see it?
Go for it.
Yeah. So this map, again, we deal with becoming something more, putting on the suit if you will. We have garden terrors that will spawn here at the top and at the bottom as well. 2 small tiny camps full of little plants and 1 big camp full of a giant plant. And we will kill them, try to grab the seeds that pop out, and as soon as each team manages to gather 100 seeds, then their own Garden Terror will spawn in their base. They can run back, put on that suit, and again have special powers that are really great for pushing, that will kind of leech health away from the opponent's buildings, as well as turn their opponents into harmless little zombie plants.
Yeah, it's man, the name of the skill always eludes me, but it's like cursed growth or something. But yeah, zombie plants. If you hear us talk about zombie plants, that's exactly what we're talking about. So, as I said, a little bit stranger drafts, the double warriors and the support on each side. We do got the specialist in the Zebo with Raynor, not somebody we see a lot of, at least in the higher brackets from Mortem. But we do got the Illidan and the Vala. Vala, very common. At least among competitive, almost a 100% picker ban rate. But Illidan is, I'm going to have to keep a very close eye on the Illidan, but keeping an eye on the Mirrodin top, he's actually the one getting ganked, but he uses the dwarf jump to get away. And again, you know, you might hear me talk about the party lane, and that's usually, again, going to be the bottom, because the bottom has these mercs as well as the seed spawns that Anna was talking about, but it's also just like almost habit these days to kind of throw your bigger push comps into the bottom. Right now, we don't have party lanes from either side. We actually have a few roaming comps coming up from both sides.
I hope you're ready.
Yeah, we saw kind of a gathering of MiM Supremacy in the mid lane. And they are doing some good work, but gotta be careful as it is 3-on-2, now 4-on-2.
Yeah, spin to win is great, but once you stop spinning, you stop winning. And the Sonya will pay for that kill, but 2-1 already on the board here for Supremacy. They got themselves a good kill early on top of the Nazebo, and some really nice collapses. I don't think they expected both teams to be collapsing into the mid at that point, so they saw themselves a numbers advantage and said, we can get this kill quick. And they did, but unfortunately the collapse just kind of came. Now, the timing is not terrible because we did just have these plants spawn, and this is the big objective as we were talking about. Small camps, which are worth 15 seeds each, and the big guy who's worth 60. So on the board is 180 seeds, and all a team has to do is collect 100 of them to get themselves a terror. If they don't get it this round, well, you know, day will turn to night, and night will turn to day, and they will have another chance. But this early game, a lot of the team fight is going to be centered in and around some of these seeds if you're going to go contesting. And Raynor definitely went contesting. Same with the Nazebo. He's actually going to get collapsed because there's, like, this 4-man collapse is actually really good from Supremacy. He gets himself 3 and 4 kills on the back of all that.
And what you'll see is a lot of times teams doing this, going for the small camps, making sure they get those really quickly because they're easy to get, and if you don't grab them, your enemy will. And then trying to make sure that they get the advantage by potentially taking out some of their teammates before they fall on that bigger plant, as it is a lot harder to kill and does put them in a vulnerable position where they could get attacked when their health has already been spent a bit on this big guy.
Yeah, exactly. So after those 4 kills, they get themselves the big guy. They're at 84 seeds, which means you can likely bet right now that they're going to transition to the top one, since blue team has not really put forth any kind of effort into going to grab it. And this could actually be a very early plant for Supremacy. And just like what we saw with the dragon, you put on the suit. I always think Iron Man when you say that. Just that line from the Avengers. Put on the suit, Tony. Put on the suit. Yeah, they could definitely get themselves a nice seed vehicle early. Blue and Blue, literally actually Blue, that guy right there, the shotgun, he got hooked, but he's going to be okay for now. And the rest of the team is here. So the communication is definitely there from these teams. They're sticking together. They're roaming out together to go get some of these comps. But at the same time, some of them are also off soaking. And right now, Floof in this bottom lane is maintaining that experience lead, 7-5 for his team.
A very proper Floof. Floof, the French
I think
spelling.
it's Floof.
Floof.
Floof, I don't know. I'd have to ask him, yeah.
And Mortem being able to probably take out this top terror as well, which will grant them the Garden Terror in their own base. But they've got to be careful. They've got this Illidan Stitches looking around out there, trying to pull. Oh, and Blue does get pulled away, but is able to rejoin his friends with the help of the zombie wall.
Oh, this is a Harlequin. It is a Harlequin Nazebo.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Quite scary.
Yeah, he's probably going to die right here. Well, maybe not. Psycho Ghost jumps in. He gets crowd controlled on his own. Still low hit points there for Blue. He just has to be careful. If he gets hooked one more time, it could be a problem. Uther does have his back, though. Oh, that hook. Man.
That's got to hurt.
Ziba had put on any more weight in his jesting days. Terrible, terrible thing. But bigger problem, we have a bigger problem here for post-mortem. They did get those seeds, which is great. They put them up to 92 seeds. They got to be happy about that. But because all 5 of them are in this top lane, they're not soaking those other ones. You saw kind of what we call the poke and soak strategy, where red team kept continually poking them and fighting them, delaying the attributes, or delaying the objective. And the teammates were soaking. They're almost level 10. This is almost 2 talent tier advantage for red team right now.
And when you hit 10 and the opposing team is that far below you, that's an opportunity to really put in kind of your claim on the game early on.
Yeah, this early game is definitely in Supremacy's favor. They are not leaving these lanes. They even got a free fort. Floof was able to push down not only the gate, but the fort unimpeded. Tyrande was in the mid. She got herself the gate. Now we got these rock throwers pushing down bigger pressure into the mid. Level 11 to 7. You see the ultimates. You see these heroics now picked up for Supremacy. Any kind of team fight is, you know, post-mortem is at a huge disadvantage because they have 1 less ability per hero to bring to the table.
Yeah, what do you think their strategy is? You know, they've been grouped up almost this whole time since we saw them taking seeds. They've grabbed a couple mercenary camps. Do you think that they're feeling like they might be able to trade that for, I mean, for the levels that they're losing?
It's, I think it's just kind of a bad snowball in their favor. They had 4 people in that beginning siege fight, right? They went down. They died. That's a big loss of experience in lanes because they're dead, loss in pressure because of the seeds. There's the hook on blue
and
the gorge.
The wall.
And yeah, behind the wall is very common this early on. You're able to really take home a really nice... So that's a big thing of Stitches right now. Hook, gorge, and then into a safe spot. It turns the game into a 5-on-4, essentially, because now you don't have Nazebo, which would usually mean you don't have the Ravenous Spirit, but we're not even to that point yet. And we're almost coming to another 2 talent tier advantage. If we hit 13 before blue hits 10, that's a big problem. But yeah, the 4 kills early, they lost out the seed fight, and then all 5 of them decided to stick together for a long time, which means they lost out 2 lanes of experience for several creep waves. I mean, they lost a fort bottom, they lost a gate mid, they're about to lose out up against a Garden Terror, and they are 2 talent tiers ahead. Like, they got their 13 talents up against not even 10. So phenomenal early game presence from Supremacy has just really taken them to the head.
Yeah, and we still just really don't see any attention to soaking from post-mortem. We see them noticing when mercs are pushing and all that, but we don't see them scanning lanes and soaking, while we've got Psycho Ghost up here in the top lane just soaking away happily.
Yep. And because of that huge power difference, we don't even need all 5. Wow, blue again.
Oh, that hook.
Gets hooked. He is a hook magnet right now. And that's the problem sometimes. Nazebo was picked into a Stitches. So you have to be very confident that you can, deal with that hook, because we got Mirrodin, we got Tyrande, and Stitches that can all deal with that Nazebo. The Nazebo pick after the Stitches, especially with even more CC on top of it, it's you got to be paying very, very close attention to your positioning. And right now, our Raze has just taken so many hooks to Nazebo's face. And it's really showing. 4 levels difference. We got the plants spawning. We've denied so far 100% of the seeds to post-mortem. They have not gotten a single seed since that first wave.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that they were close. They had 92 seeds in that last wave, and that 8 seed difference was enough to keep them from getting a plant terror, put them on the back foot, and now MiM Supremacy is going to be the one with the first Garden Terror.
Souffle the souffle. Chat. Floof is French. Thank you, chat, for the update.
Oh,
but,
good to know.
He's
a French plant.
Maybe it's from Quebec. I live right next to Quebec. Either way, we do got this Garden Terror now pushing down, and tell us a little bit about the terror as the team is about to try to get it.
Well, as you can see, he's putting these flower pots down, and those are going to wrap their tendrils around all the buildings, and like I said, just kind of leech away their HP. And Floof is also able to put down these little patches of zombie plant grow quick fertilizer.
Grow quick TM.
Yeah, grow quick fertilizer, like my mom had in the garage. And make his enemies harmless. as well as he's also got a dash. So he does get a little bit of escapability as well as a little bit of help getting across the map because he's so lumbering.
He is, yeah, he does actually have sprint. I think sprint if you actually go, but it is, you know, it's not the longest of durations, has a pretty hefty cooldown, but it does help you, get from point A to point B. The collapse on top of the plant was good, but the problem is they lost out Nazebo again. He did die. They finally have now their plant. Nazebo's getting off that Ravenous, but here comes the Mirrodin. He just stops it immediately. Bristo's there as well, and then goes to switch back to the But even with this plant and this extra power, the MiM team is just so far ahead. They're 5 levels ahead. They've maintained those 2 talents over their opponents. This is going to be a team up. This is almost, this is probably game, to be honest. I mean, I'm not really too sure what you can do in a 2 talent tier difference, but the collapse was good for the team fight.
Yeah, and a lot of people would look at this and say, you know, this is so snowbally, how could I even come back from this? The answer is that just as soon as we saw that that level difference was widening, Mortem has got to say, you know what, we've got to get our levels up. We need to kind of step back. We need to be soaking in lanes. And ever since we noticed that, they have not been soaking. So, you know, yes, snowballing might be a word, but really more just kind of logic and math is kind of the word here, I would say.
Yeah, if you are down multiple levels, the only way to get back into it is to spread out so you can't look for team fights. You're not going to win them. If you can get a pick, that is absolutely the best that you can hope for. You know, get a 1 for 0, get a 2 for 0, run away. Don't push your luck. But that underdog bonus will kick in. If you are below the enemy team, you get a kill. Let's say one of these 17 heroes gets killed, right? That's almost enough, I think, to put us close to 14. Like, it's going to be an entire level of experience because of the difference between them. So we do reward teams from behind, but you got to get those picks. And I'm not entirely too sure we're going to see that here from Mortem, but they're trying. They're really trying. Here comes the material charge. We have a good Ravenous off there, but the hit points, well, there's Vala. Vala actually catapults them into that 13.5. Sonya, however, is going to drop. I'm not too sure anybody else is from Supremacy, but again, the underdog bonus kicks in, right? We went from just under 13 to almost 13.5 with the 1 kill on top of Vala. So,
but all the while, a plant terror has been up at the top for MiM Supremacy, uncontested, just kind of leeching all the health out of there and planting his evil little plant pots. So
evil.
I mean,
why are they evil?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on which team you're on. His
anything
fantastic and magical plant pots also work. Yes, doing lots of damage top lane, completely uncontested, while the rest of Mortem was involved in that team fight trying to defend bottom. And it makes you wonder, you know, why did they choose the team as opposed to the plant terror? But in that case, like you said, they don't have a lot of good options because in a team fight, they are not going to perform well.
No, and so the bigger thing here is earlier on, it's okay to group up for objectives, but make sure. Most of us have an average of 300 milliseconds. That's really unfortunate as well, according to Blue. But yeah, spread out and soak. You can collapse your objectives, but don't get too focused on 5-manning on this map, because unless you're going to be taking a big guy, you don't need 5 for smalls. You know, two of you can peel off and go get some creeps. Get back to your lanes. Maintain that experience soak. It is very important early game in order to hit level 10 as quick as you can. So that you have to soak. And if you are going to be behind in levels, don't look for a fight. I mean, if somebody ganks your lane, sure, you know, you're probably going to die, but that's okay because your other 2 are still soaking unimpeded. It's definitely better than 0 soaking for as long as Blue is.
Right, and we are seeing that MiM Supremacy is about to hit 20. So at that point, they are going to have absolutely access to all of the talents they could ever desire. And that is going to put them in a good position to really do whatever they want on this map. And in this case, what they want to do is grab yet another Garden Terror. They have one ready, and they're actually still collecting seeds. So really putting an insurance policy on their dominance here.
And this is also part of the snowballing factor of the map. Once you are ahead in terms of levels or map pressure, you can almost chain the plant terror back to back to back. And they are really useful. Oh, that hook on top of it. They are very useful pushing mechanics. And if you need a big siege boost, you don't have the biggest sieging team, just farm the objectives, farm the kills, and get those plants, because at this point, at 14 minutes and level 20, that plant terror can probably just solo this core by itself right now.
Yeah, and we're seeing Stitches being very bold, using those pulling material back, putting him out of position with and Illidan jumping in to sandwich him in a PB&J of
yeah, and that is likely to be game right there. Raynor a little bit too far forward, gets forged. That's okay. There goes the Sonya. They're not spinning to win today. And that will be that. So, the MiM Vitality team did drop against the Vivid Eclipse, but Supremacy will move on up against Mortem here for the HeroesHype Amateur League. Red victors all around today.
You know, we were really interested to see how that Illidan was going to perform with a low level of healing. And yet that was a pretty dominant performance from MiM Supremacy. Do you think they would have had more trouble if from the beginning Mortem had been soaking XP? Do you think that that comp with Illidan would have given them kind of an Achilles heel? Or do you think that we saw some interesting play that may be viable even if the other team was comparable in XP?
The draft definitely threw me a little bit of a loop because we did have the Sonya and the Tyrael, and the Raynor first pick. Okay, come on. Your webcam was working all the way until I focused it. I don't understand. This one's a little less flattering, but it's...
Okay, hold on. There we go.
I've never really seen a first pick Raynor, and we're intentionally not really analyzing a lot of the talents. We're leaving them up there for you guys to discuss them in the chat, because talents are very important to this game. There's just so much going on, and we're trying to just keep it as friendly as possible, so to speak. But a first pick Raynor that's new to me. So they didn't really look like they had a huge team fighting plan. Maybe it was more of an objective plan. I mean, Tyrael can definitely solo out a lot of the plants. Sonya has some good success rate there. Nazeebo with his zombie walls, and Raynor with his Raiders recruitment is an improved version of Bribe, which is new to this patch. He can actually bribe up to 4 creeps, or at least 3, if not 4. Either way, he can do some really interesting things with that. But none of that really came into play. So if they wanted a team fight, they didn't get a Vala. They didn't get any kind of big siege vehicles, siege tank or Nazeebo. Well, they had Nazeebo or Zagara. Zagara is a really great AoE team fighter. But I don't know. The draft, it didn't really look like it fit their playstyle.
So yeah, I mean, overall, we've said it a couple times, but it looks like in terms of analyzing for the help of the community and trying to learn ourselves, that XP soak is just going to be super important. And if you don't do it, it's going to allow even comps that have little weaknesses in them kind of dominate and get map control. And once map control happens, if you're not able to defend every single lane, eventually one will get pushed in all the way to the core.
Yeah, and losing out keeps is definitely big. You don't want to give stuff away for free, especially keeps, because of the catapults that will then start spawning in your lane. It starts pushing it down. It's always like you're always just dealing with a lane with catapults. It's just what it feels like. So, if you don't want to go get the big seeds, just grab the little ones, go back to lane. You don't have to fight them. You don't need to do early 5-man pressure unless you really want to kill something. And even then, the bigger thing to take away from it is split back out, collapse and expand, collapse and expand. Just keep up with that rhythm, especially on Garden of Terror, and you might find yourself in a little bit more of a better spot. It's harder to say anything past that because 5-level difference was like the predominant difference between the teams. So if it was closer, could it have been different? I'm not sure. It's the draft was definitely strong for Supremacy.
I think that collapse and expand rhythm is one of the most important things to kind of log away in your mind for heroes, because you'll hear a lot of people saying, oh, we just need to group up, we need to stay group up, we need to stay grouped up, or no, we need to be soaking, we need to all be in lanes. Both of those things are true in the right rhythm. So I think that's a very wise way to put it for Court Jester.
Wise Court Jester. Yeah. All right, we're going to find out what's next. If we are going into the winners semis, this is now a best of 3 scenario. And then the finals, of course, will be a best of 3 as well. So I'm going to talk to the admins. We're going to find out if we're going into a semis or if we're going into a lower bracket game, which means literally they're playing for their lives. Either way, we will have something for you in the next match here for the Team HeroesHype Amateur League with Miss Anna Prosser Robinson and for Coach Justice. So see you guys in the field.